What is Turiya? Turiya means the fourth. And what people are referring to as the fourth is the fourth state of consciousness. So let's talk about the three states before we get talking about this fourth. So the three states of consciousness are the waking state, which we're in right now. You're awake. There's an experience of wakefulness. The body is awake. The mind is active. There's a world. This is the waking state. Then there's the dream state. There's still a body in the dream. There's the dream world. And then there's the mind activity, right? So that's the dream state. And then there's the deep sleep state. In the deep sleep state, there's the absence of the body, there's the absence of the mind, and there's the absence of the world. What most people just consider to be, I don't know, I'm unconscious when I'm sleeping. There's nothing. There's no time. It's timeless. I disappear. I don't know what happens. I go to bed at 12 and I wake up at 8, and I have this period of time where it's unaccounted for. What happened? There was no experience. Before, there was a dream, and then there was this blankness, this nothingness, right? So those are the three states: waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Okay. Now there's Turiya, meaning the fourth state. And even that's not accurate because it's not a state. States have defined boundaries, right? Like the United States of America, there's the different states. There's a boundary. There's a limit. There's a start and there's an end to a state. Turiya, there's no start and there's no end. So there's no start, there's no end. And it permeates all three states that we spoke about. So it permeates the waking state, it permeates the dream state, it permeates the deep sleep state. So it can be found in all three, right? When we say it permeates it or it runs through all three states. So you can think of it as a necklace, just this little thin white thread. And there's a red bead, the waking state, a green bead, the dream state, and a orange bead, the deep sleep state. Turiya is like the thread that's running through those three beads. It's not another bead. It's not another bead. Like there's another level. There's another level in the sense of like there's another state. Where's this other state? It's here right now. It's in the waking state. When you're dreaming, when there's the experience of dream, it's there as well. It's here in a dream state, And in deep sleep state, it's there too. Right? So then where is it? Where's the signs of it? Where's the signs of it? There's a sign of waking state. There's a body moving. There's a mind, activity of the mind, thoughts coming and going. There's a world, right? Those are the signs, right? Those are the qualities. Those are the characteristics of the waking state. Well, what's the characteristics of dream state? Basically the exact same. It's just not as congruent or consistent as the waking state. Meaning that there's not this, I stop shooting the video, and if I'm hungry, I go and I walk and I go get a sandwich, right? Just down the road. Dream state, it's a little different. I'm going to go get a sandwich now. And then, whoa, how did I get on the plane? And wow, we're going down. Oh my God, where did the tiger come from? Right? It's all just kind of chopped up like that. It doesn't really make too much sense, a lot of the dreams that we have, right? There's a lot of jumping around, right? But nonetheless, there's a body, there's a mind, and there's a world. There's an experience of a body, a mind, and a world in a dream state. In a waking state, there's an experience of a body, a mind, and a world. In deep sleep state, is there an experience of a body, mind, and a world? No. So there's no experience of a body, mind, and a world in deep sleep state. Now, what is the experience of Turiya? Well, the experience of Turiya is very difficult to describe. It's indescribable. It's indescribable. There's also no characteristics such as those other states. So it's hard to conceptualize in the way that we're conceptualizing these three other states. Because whatever we say about Turiya, it's not going to be accurate, and the mind's not going to grasp it. Because Turiya is beyond the mind. That's why, from the mind's standpoint, saying, what? There's a fourth? What's it called again? Turiya? Where is it? It wants to look. Where is it? What objective qualities does it have? None. No objective qualities. See, the objective qualities of a waking state is the experience of the body, the mind, and the world. From that standpoint, those are the objects that appear in the waking state: a body, a mind, and a world, right? Is there a body? Are you experiencing your body? Yes. Are you experiencing your mind? Yes. Are you experiencing a world? Yes. Right? How about the dream state? Are you experiencing a body in the dream state? Yes. Are you experiencing a mind in the dream state? Yes. Are you experiencing a world in the dream state? Yes. How about deep sleep state? Are you experiencing body in the deep sleep state? No. Are you experiencing a mind in the deep sleep state? No. Are you experiencing a world in the deep sleep state? No. Well, what is it that knows all of this? What is it that knows of the experience of the body, the mind, and the world in awake state? What is it that knows the experience of a body, a mind, and a world in the dream state? What is it that knows of no experience of a body, a mind, and a world in deep sleep state? Another way we can say this is, what is aware of the experience of body, mind, and world in the awake state and the dream state? And what is it that's aware that there's no experience, there's an absence of experience of a body, mind, and world in the deep sleep state? What is aware of the awake state now transitioning to the dream state? What's aware of the transition from the deep sleep state to the wake state? Are you seeing the thread? The thread that runs through All three states is that knowingness, the awareness that makes it possible for the experience of those three states. Because those three states are also an experience that comes and goes. But what is it that does not come and go? It's the awareness, the knowingness. If there was no knowingness, how would you even know about those three states? If there was no awareness, how would you be aware of those three states? See that those three states are coming and going. See that those three states are impermeate. See that those three states have a boundary, a start and an end to it. The fourth, Turiya, that's why I said, is not a state because it doesn't come and go, and there's no limitations, and there's no start and end. It's always present. It's here, now, right here, right now. It's what's aware of the experience right now. It's what's aware of the experience of, you would say, your body. It's what's aware of the experience of your mind. It's what's aware of the experience of your world. It's what makes it all possible. It's the fundamental reality that underlies, or you can say, or permeates, or you can say that holds it all together, holds those three states all together. Really, those three states, the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state, they appear in awareness. They come and go in awareness. And you can get a glimpse of it. Probably the easiest way to get a glimpse of it is as your body is falling asleep. While you're experiencing the body fall asleep and transition from wake to sleep, if you're conscious of it, if you're aware, you'll be aware of that transition. You'll be aware of that transition. There'll be a no experience, an experience of nothing. Just like in deep sleep state. The only difference is you'll be fully aware of it. In deep sleep state, there is still an awareness. That awareness is there. It's the awareness of no experience. It's the experience of nothing, or better said, no thing. The body is a thing, the mind is a thing, the world is a thing. That's the experience. No thing, no thingness, that awareness, that's no thing. That's why it's not objective. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't touch it. In that sense, well, if you're looking for it, where is this? Just point to it. Well, I am pointing to it. With this video, I'm pointing to it. So this no-thingness is what experiences the somethingness. The body is a something, the mind is a something, the world is a something. You could say they appear as objects in your awareness. They're experienced. The body, the mind, the world, they are experienced in awareness. They arise out of awareness. Just like you can be conscious of the body's kind of disappearing as you drift, as you transition from one state to the next, from waking to sleeping. But if you're still conscious, if you're aware, if you're still awake while sleeping, essentially, then it becomes very clear. It becomes very clear because then there's this awareness that's here and now, which you find yourself as, because it becomes self-evident when the body disappears and the mind disappears and the world disappears. But you're still aware. That's how you know it becomes self-evident that you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the world in that sense at this level of discovery. Because we identify so much with the body and mind, we think that this body, mind that's me. That's all I am. That's what I am. Well, how can that be you when you seem to disappear in dream state? In deep sleep state. Right? The experience is a lot different in the dream state of the body and the mind, right? This body can't really fly in the waking state, but sometimes it flies in the dream state, right? It's a little different. It's changing. But there's something that's changeless that runs through them all, right? The beads are changing, but the thread that runs through it, that doesn't change, right? It permeates all three states. We're just not aware of it. But if you become aware of it, you get a glimpse of it. You get a glimpse of it. And you can feel. Not really a feeling. It's not a feeling. It becomes self-evident that then it's just, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. This is what I am. There's a clear seeing that it disappears. If it's like identifying with the teacup. And this is what I think that I am. And then one day, I become very aware that teacup's not here, but I'm here. I go, oh, I'm obviously not that teacup then. Because what I am is still present, and what I thought I was is absent. So there, it becomes very self-evident. And you can get these glimpses. Like I said, it's probably the easiest is that transition between falling asleep and like sleeping, like as you fall asleep, that transition. Another transition is when you wake up. How is it that you're just kind of conscious and there's no body, no mind, you're just, and then, if you're like me, you get kids at the side of you kind of waking you up, or the alarm clock goes, and you go, pfft. Now it's more difficult to catch it here, but then there's an I thought that will show up and then immediately identify itself with the body and the mind, and now there's in a world. So like I said, as you're coming out of that sleep, there's no body, no mind, no world, and then it's like you just feel it's like kind of like a system on a computer just booting up, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this thing again. What do I need to do? Okay, change some diapers, brush some teeth, jump in the shower, like what? Pack the lunches, get the kids. It just starts firing up. right? And then it's the same sort of thing. There's a cycle as we go to bed. And it's like, okay, as much as you love your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever is your family, as much as you love them, you love your sleep more, right? You go, okay, as much as I love you all, I'm going to bed. I need to go to bed. As you're drifting, you're like, it's this, you're letting go of the body. You're letting go of the mind. You're letting go of the world, right? And you just feel like, again, you're just coming home. You're returning home, right? It's this letting go. So the more you're able to let go, right, which is really the more you're able to disidentify with the content that's appearing in awareness, then it becomes self-evident. That awareness starts really shining through, or you can say is because you've let go of that identification, that awareness kind of returns to itself, and the nature of awareness is self-awareness. It becomes aware of itself. The awareness becomes aware of itself, right? The other place that you can find this awareness, I mean, it just sounds like that. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But what I mean to say is another, just like I said, is you can get a glimpse, possibly, transitioning from waking to sleep, as well as from sleep to waking. So those are two kind of access points that you can look for. I guess you can say that. Another is the gaps in between your thinking. Because we get so heavily identified with the body and the mind. Oh, there's a body, there's a mind. Okay. Now, if you're like most people, just constant activity, thoughts, right? What meditation helps you do is it helps slow down the mind so it's not overly active like that. And what happens is there's just seems to be less thoughts. So it used to be all about me, I, right? So a lot of thoughts, a lot of overthinking. The mind will start to be calm, and then it'll just be thought. With more meditation, it might go thought. So again, these thoughts are again seen as objects or thought forms, the thought forms that are appearing in the formless awareness. The objects that are appearing in the awareness, which is the subject. So that's another entry point, because if you believe yourself to be the mind, well then what still remains when there's no experience of the mind? And what is the mind other than thoughts? Your experience of the mind, if I say, well, what's your experience like of the mind? You'd go, I don't know, I'm just thinking all the time. Thoughts, that's my experience of the mind, right? Memory, which is thoughts. Imagination, which is thoughts. Stories, which are thoughts, right? It's all thoughts, right? You go, okay, well, let's just make it simple. The mind is thoughts. Okay, so you experience thoughts. So how can you be the thought? If you're aware of the thought, how can you also be the thought? Right? Obviously, the thought is something that's coming and going, right? There's an experience. I wasn't experiencing that thought. Now I'm experiencing the thought, and then I'm aware that thought has gone, and there's a new thought. So the thoughts are coming and going, but what is it that's aware of the thoughts that are coming and going? And what is it that's aware of the space in between the thoughts? Because if the awareness is there without a thought, then obviously the awareness is more fundamental than the thought. Obviously, for you to be aware that there's no thought and there's this gap in between thoughts, and that you become aware that you exist, even in the gap of the thoughts, that you exist even without thought, well, then how can you be the mind? Seems like the mind is, again, disappearing. But you know that you as this awareness are not disappearing. So again, that's another entry point that you can get a glimpse. So this Turiya, the fourth state, like I said, is not a state. It's not a state. It's not coming and going like the three states. This awareness is always here and now. Check for yourself. Are you aware right now? Yes. Now, what did I say? The nature of awareness is self-awareness, to be aware of itself. Are you aware that you are aware? What is aware of being aware? Awareness itself, right? And it's hard to grasp because, again, it can't be grasped because there's no form. You can't grasp it like I can grasp this cup. Try and grasp air. You can't grasp air. It's like that. But even air is so subtle, the space that's so subtle. Even this space is appearing in awareness. That's how subtle it is. It's the most subtle, which is why you never really realize it. Hopefully this video is helping you realize it. But it's prior to everything. Everything depends on this awareness. If there wasn't this awareness, nothing else would exist. You only know things exist because there's an experience of its existence. Without the awareness, how would there ever be an experience of anything existing? There wouldn't. That's why it's fundamental. It's the ultimate reality. You could say that's behind everything. You could say that permeates everything. You could say that everything arises out of. You can say that everything is experienced in. And not to confuse you, but everything is actually made up of this awareness. Everything is made up of it. So, if that gets you interested in how do I discover this fourth state that's not a state, right? You're discovering this awareness, right? This awareness that's always here and now. And this awareness is your true nature. But you can't simply just believe what I'm saying. It needs to be experienced. It needs to be experienced that what I'm pointing to is actually nameless. I'm just calling it awareness. You can call it knowingness. You can call it beingness. You can call it anything you want. Ding dong. It doesn't matter because what it is nameless. What it is formless. It's invisible. It's transparent. It's infinite. It's boundless, borderless, limitless. No start, no end. It's eternal. It's immortal. It's self-illuminating. It illuminates the three states. it illuminates the experiences in the three states. It's your true nature. And there's no greater realization than this. Discovering what you are. That this, what we're talking about is if we're saying it's fundamental and everything arises out of it, it's the source of creation. If everything arises out of this awareness is not manifest. Everything else, this cup, this computer, this microphone, this body, these are manifestations. The awareness is unmanifest. Everything is arising out of this awareness. Everything is experienced in this awareness. Everything is made of this awareness. And yet, this awareness is beyond all of this. That's why the mind can't conceptualize it. It can't grasp it. It's beyond the mind. It's untouched by any of these experiences. It's untouched by the waking state. It's untouched by the dream state. It's untouched by the deep sleep state. It's untouched by any experience in all three states. And it's the source of all three states. And it's what all three states are made up of. And without this awareness, there could be no experience of any of these three states. That's why I said this Turiya, this fourth, it's not a state. It doesn't come and go, and there's no borders or limits to it. It's always present. It's here right now. It's what you are. See you in the next one.